get loud and give it up for Coach Burt.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. What's up, guys? Love the space here. I like places of energy. They say that energy cannot be created; it can only be transferred. And what we're going to talk about today is we're going to I love these small sessions because I'm speaking at a conference, I think tomorrow, the next day in Scottsdale. It's 500 or 600 people. And I actually love small, intimate, where we can go deep, not shallow. And so this is your time. We got 3 hours. We talk about anything you want to talk about, but I'm going to just unpack some things. Jefferson is right. I have been coaching pretty much my whole life. I found my voice and calling real early in life, right? When I was 6 years old, I was actually playing Little League Baseball, and I had a female baseball coach, which was really odd. And my mom was a single mom who had me when she was 16 years old, and she used to take me down to the local baseball field where I would literally stay for hours and hours and hours while she was working 2 jobs. And we weren't, she doesn't like for me to say we were poor because it hurts her feelings, but we were poor, right? I didn't lack for anything, but we just didn't have a lot of money, so I would stay down at the baseball field, and it was a woman down there who said, son, one of these days when you grow up, you're going to be a great coach. And I started hearing this very early in life, right? My high school coach called me professor. He said, you're always thinking. You're always strategizing. At the end of practice every day, I would take the younger kids home with me, right? And I would just on the way home, I'd pick a different kid every day, like a freshman, and I'd say, man, let me take you home today. Let me just talk to you. Let me coach you a little bit. Let me give you some guidance. So I was coaching people very, very early in life. And what that's really afforded me over the last 30 years is to really study what do the best people in the world do. And I've observed literally the best people in almost every industry you can imagine. And I just watch and I observe what makes this person the best. And we're actually doing a study right now, the top 3% in multiple industries, to see the 5 characteristics the top 3% of people have versus everybody else. And it's pretty interesting. When we measure people, what we do is we take a company and we say, give me your top performers. And then we test them on a test. They typically show very high in 5 categories. And then we say, let's test everybody else. And then we test everybody else and we see how they stack up versus the best. Right? And it's more scientific. It's like, well, you struggle in courage, or you struggle in connection, or you struggle in intrinsic motivation, or you struggle in boldness. There's key areas that once we know where you struggle, then we can coach you very specifically to that area, right? And it's more scientific than just guessing. So I started coaching, and it's so crazy because my greatest mentor was from Salt Lake City, and that was a guy named Dr. Stephen Covey. And the Covey Leadership Center. And so what's really freaky is when I come to Salt Lake City, like I can feel his presence in my life. Like he had such an impact on me when I was 18 years old. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Principle-Centered Leadership, First Things First. Like, man, that changed my life. So when I met Dr. Covey at 25 years old, I flew to Boston to meet him. I was a high school basketball coach. I was completely broke. I was so broke, I actually rented a room in a nursing home. They had extra beds at a nursing home, and they actually sold those beds at night. They sold the extra beds like you're going to a hotel. And I didn't know I was staying in a nursing home, but I was at a nursing home because I just didn't have a lot of money. And it cost money to go see him, and I didn't have a lot of money. But I had to go meet my mentor. I had to go see him. I had to go shake his hand. And they said, well, you can meet Dr. Covey, but if you want to have lunch with him, it's $1,000 extra, because that's what they do at these conferences, right? To get the VIP ticket, you got to pay more money. Well, I was a high school basketball coach. I didn't have $1,000 extra. And I told my mom, I'm like, man, if there's any way I could just meet this dude. Like, this is who I have studied for 7 years, from 18 to 25. Everything he's ever written, everything he's ever said, every video he ever made. In those days, it was a VHS videos, right? And I said, everything that dude has ever written, I've read. Okay, and my mom, who is relentless like me, that's kind of where I get it, is she figured out a way to find Dr. Covey's personal assistant, which was a girl named Julie McAllister. And my mom just kept going and kept going and kept going. And she basically found this woman and said, my son has been deeply impacted by Dr. Covey. Is there any way Dr. Covey could just say hi to him? Right? She's like, no, we don't do that. He's really busy. He's going to be speaking to this thing. It's got $1,000 extra. And my mom's like, man, we don't have it to give you. But if my son could just meet him, I think it would change his whole life. And so here's what she did. She said, I tell you what, when Dr. Covey comes out of that luncheon, I want your son to be sitting there waiting on him. We're going to pull them two in a room, just them, and we're going to let Dr. Covey spend just 5 or 10 minutes with him. Okay? So, man, I was so nervous. I was sweating. I had written my first or second book by that point, and I'm meeting this mentor of mine, and sure enough, here he comes. We walked back in this room, and he was so calm. And he had such a presence about him. You ever meet a person and just their mere presence changes your life? You ever been in the presence of a truly person that you believe was close to self-actualization? Which means they're operating at such a frequency, they have such a peace. I felt the same way when I met Wayne Dyer in Puerto Rico. They just emanate such an energy. You're so attracted to what they're doing that I just sat there, man. I just sat there and said, man, it's such a pleasure to meet you. You really changed my life over the last 7 years. And he basically said to me, man, you're going to do big things in the world. And he signed my book, and I spent a few minutes with my mentor, right? And it was just transformational. So every time I come to Salt Lake City, I'm reminded of the influence. If you don't know Dr. Covey's story, he impacted people for years and years and years. And then he retired at 79 years old. Only 3 months after his retirement, he was riding his bicycle in the mountains here in Utah, and he fell off his bike and he hit his head. And he went to the doctor, and they told him he was okay, but he wasn't okay. 3 months later, he died.
Who was this?
Dr. Stephen Covey. So he spent his whole life helping people. He retires, and he crashed his bike, hit his head, and 3 months later he was dead. Has 63 grandchildren. I mean, big family. And now I'm actually being coached by somebody that was a good friend of him. And here's what the coolest thing in the world is. The guy coaching me now says, everything you saw, everything is advertised. He was that good. Whether he was with 1,000 people or with 1-to-1, he was as good as advertised. Right? And so when I'm here, I'm like, man, I can just feel that presence of having somebody in my life that really changed my whole life from 18 to 25. So at 18 years old, I decided I want to be a basketball coach. So I started coaching basketball, and I was a real young basketball coach, and that's when I started reading the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I said, I'm going to use these habits of effective people, and I'm going to practice them. And then I'm going to teach my players these habits. So every player that played for me, we taught the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Imagine 14 years old, you're learning these things. Habits of successful people, how to bounce back, grit, toughness. How to just keep going over and over and over, how to just keep coming. So 18 to 25 was a really powerful time in my life because I was really building my philosophy about how to build people. And when you build people, sales kind of takes care of itself many times. Would you agree?
Absolutely, 100%.
And that's really what we're going to focus on today is how do we activate something inside of you. We're going to call that Pray Drive. Okay, and there's a story behind Pray Drive. We're going to talk about because goals. And we're going to talk about how do you just keep going over and over and over. Okay, because one of the things I started to learn when I was coaching was that Dr. Covey taught me was that people are made up of 4 parts. A body that's physical. Okay. A mind that's mental. A heart that's emotional. And a spirit that's spiritual. Those are all 4 parts of our nature. Okay, now let me take that and break it down. Can a person be somewhere physically but not be there mentally? Yes. Could you go out there every single day, knock on doors, come to this office, go out into the marketplace? Could you be there physically but not be there with your heart? Yes. Yeah. Could you be there but not be there with your confidence? Yes. See, what I was learning was that it didn't matter how much knowledge you had, that's the mind, or how much skill you actually had, because I know lots of people who are very talented and have a lot of potential, but they can't seem to have the drive to go get it. So they can have the knowledge and the skill and not have the heart, the drive, the pray drive. They can have skill with no confidence. Okay? And what good is it to have knowledge, skill, and desire with no confidence? What good is it to have confidence with no skill? We call that arrogance, by the way. It's when you think you're a lot better than what you really are. In a natural world, you would go to work on all four parts of your nature. Knowledge for the mind, skill for the body, desire for the heart, confidence for the spirit. And in an ideal world, you're attracting people to you versus having to sell other people things. Money changes hands when problems are solved. That's it. That's my whole sales philosophy. Right? Money is exchanged when a problem is solved. And there's really only two types of businesses. There's painkillers, and the painkillers, man, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Okay? I'm sick of something. And you're going to solve that pain for me. Right? Or there's what's called a vitamin business, which is I'm already doing good, but you're going to help me do even better. I go to this real famous doctor in Houston to keep me healthy, and so I'm going to customize vitamins to my body and all that kind of thing. And a lot of people think it's expensive. It's only about $10,000 a year. But I've probably seen at least 4,000 to 5,000 people in the last year to 2 years. Have not got sick one time. People have cried on me, hugged me. Every person on my staff had COVID except me. I got to give credit where credit's due, man, and that's the guy keeping me healthy. And when I went there, they make you fill out a form on why you're here, right? Most people say, I hurt here, I'm sick here, I don't have any energy. I want to find my superpower. And I go back there in the back, and the doctor said, man, we've never had anybody put that on here. I'm like, man, I'm trying to get to this freakish level up here. I need a lot of energy. I need to be incredibly healthy. I need to be able to help a lot of people. How can you help me do that? That's why I'm here. I went there for a vitamin. I didn't go there for a painkiller. See the difference? So when you're thinking about this, let's start with a simple concept of I want you to think right now where you're struggling. Is it knowledge? You need more knowledge of the industry. You need more knowledge of the product. You need more knowledge of how to sell. You need more knowledge, right? You don't have the knowledge you need. I asked my sales team to give me the last 5 people that they called that they told me they couldn't make a sale to. And in almost every scenario, I either sell them or I can find the true objection. And many times they'll say, they don't have any money. This is what my people tell me. They don't have any money, which is bull, because everybody's spending money on something, right or wrong. Anytime they tell you they don't have the money, they're spending money on something. Okay? They're just saying this ain't a priority to me to spend it on this. Same person that says they don't have any money today will go out and spend $200 on alcohol this weekend or eat at Texas Roadhouse. I don't know if you have Texas Roadhouse here, but we do in Tennessee. They'll spend $250 at Texas Roadhouse, or they'll buy a bunch of junk, or they got a bad habit, but they'll tell you they don't have any money. What they're really saying is this is not a priority to me, right? So sometimes my salespeople say, well, they're not a buyer, or they don't have any money, or they're not interested. And it's so funny because I'll say, well, give them to me. Let me call them. And in almost every scenario, they buy something. And it's like having two totally different conversations with the person. What do I have that they don't have? More knowledge, more skill, right? Probably more prey drive. And in this case, I'm a lot bolder than they are. I have no hesitation whatsoever of asking another person for something. That's how much I believe in my product and service. Right? I don't want to skirt around the truth about it. I don't want to try to beg you to have it. I don't want to try to convince you. I believe it's to your benefit to take action with me. I believe it's to your benefit to buy my products and services. Right? I'm sold. So it's interesting because they have what's called considerations. And consideration is an internal thought that prohibits an external action. And a consideration is they don't have any money. A consideration is, oh, they're not interested. A consideration is, oh, they could never afford this. A consideration, you see what I'm saying? So if I have personal considerations, do you think that's going to affect my sales? Absolutely. Because you just won't ask people. You're afraid to ask people. You're afraid of what they'll say. You're afraid they'll say no. You're afraid they'll reject you. You're afraid of embarrassment. You're afraid of something. You already made up your mind, right? That they can't do it. So do I have more knowledge than them? Probably. Do I have more skill than them? Yes. Do I have more prey drive than them? Probably. Do I have more confidence than them? Yes. Now the question is, how can I transfer that to them? Okay, out of those 4 areas, I want you to tell the person beside you, if you are struggling in one area, which area are you struggling in the most? Knowledge, skill, desire, or boldness, confidence. Which area could you improve in? It's not like you're terrible here, but what do you think it is? Just tell the person beside you. All right. Now, this is very important, because as a coach, when I'm coaching a person, if I were coaching you one-to-one, the very first place I would go to is these 4 areas, because that's the whole person. Okay? See, all those years of coaching basketball players, winning championships, I had some players that had all kinds of desire. They showed up early, they stayed late, they would take the shots, they would do whatever I asked them to, but they just weren't that skilled. And I may have a player that scored 6 points a night, and I'm like, man, why can't she score 12? I need her to score 12, but she consistently scored 6. No matter how much we practiced, she only scored 6. Then I have a player who scored 20 a night, right? Who every now and then could score 40. And when you start looking at a very successful salesperson, if you just looked at all the top door-to-door top salespeople in the world, they are very, very talented in these areas. High degrees of specialized knowledge. Not just average skills, but impeccable skills. Right? And that skill is not, don't think of it as I'm very skilled at selling windows. Think of it as I'm incredibly skilled at connecting to people. I'm incredibly skilled at disarming people. What's one of the number one ways you can disarm people?
Get them laughing.
Laughing?
Smile.
See, I study connection. And actually, I'm being coached right now on connection. And real connection comes from intrinsically validating another person. They feel seen. They feel heard. They feel understood. They do not feel like a transaction. The word transact means to discard, right? Means I used you and I don't need you. You're just here to sell me something. Okay? Now, we both have an affection for Cardone. We like Cardone. I spoke at 10X. But they are now adding so many salespeople down there that I went to an event last week at boot camp. Every time I came out for something, they tried to sell me something. Okay? Walk right out of the conference. Would you like to go to dinner with Cardone? Would you like to invest with Cardone? Would you like to be involved with Cardone Ventures? And finally, this dude's about 18 years old. I said, stop. You see this? It's my name tag. My name is Michael. Nice to meet you. Let me coach you in how to do this. Michael, are you enjoying the conference? Michael, where did you come from? What are you trying to do in your business this year? Out of everything you're learning here, what are you going to go back and apply? Where can we serve and help you? If it's okay with your permission, I'm going to give you my cell phone. And as you go back and think through this stuff, with your permission, man, I'd love to just follow up with you to see if there's a way we can help you. There is zero chance in hell that I was going to buy something that way. Everybody see that? You don't know me. You don't know my name. You don't know my problem. You don't even understand what I'm trying to do. You're just trying to sell me something. Now, there will be a percentage of people that buy something. Would you agree? But how much better would you be? How much more would you sell if you truly learned the art of connection to another person? Everybody see that? See, that's what people, the first time I feel like you're just trying to sell me something, the first time I feel discarded, the first time I feel like a transaction to you, man, it feels dirty to me. I don't feel like you care about me. I feel like you're trying to make a commission. Everybody with me?
Yes.
Now, there is a fine balance. Make no mistake about it. I am a stone cold killing machine. You can ask Jefferson. right? I have a killer instinct in me. Okay? But I do it in a way that's not transactional. You understand where I'm going with this? You can have a very high prey drive, which is instinct. Okay? Without coming across as fake and just trying to get a commission. Okay? And this coaching that I'm getting right now, first session we got into agape love. Agape love is a deep sense and awareness of other people. And the first session, me and my wife are doing this coaching together. And the first session, I'm in the session, I'm like, agape love? Like, what are we talking about? Like, it's going to be all touchy-feely? Like, I want him to teach me how we can go make some more money. How do we sell something? But my wife wanted to do it, so I'm going through it. This guy owns all the rights to Og Mandino's work, who wrote The Greatest Salesman in the World. And so I'm like, this guy's obviously good. He's coaching some of the best people in the world. Like, okay, I come back for session 2. Michael, we're going to work on intrinsic validation. I'm like, okay, whatever. When are we going to talk about making money? Helping people, you understand? Session 3, we get into connection. How to really touch a person at a deep level. How to sense what other people need. Some people need encouragement. Some people need a good word. Some people need a positive energy. Some people need a thank you. And after my 3rd session, I looked at my wife and I said, this is how you make more money. Right? Everybody's looking for the secret. The secret is connection to other people. You don't need more money, you need more people. The people have the money. But they don't give you the money if they just feel like you're trying to sell them something. Does that make sense? I imagine you knocking on my door at my house in Tennessee and my wife coming to the door, who's typically at home during the day, working or with the kids. And you having a conversation with her. Miss Burt, how do you feel about your windows? What do you like about them, not like about them? See, when they built their house, they built this real expensive house and they put cheap windows in the house. Can you imagine a builder doing that? So we didn't buy it as a custom house. So it was an expensive house that was already built. And I just imagine you having a conversation with my wife, right? And you talking to her. What do you like? Man, you got a beautiful house. How are you doing? How many kids do you have? What are you trying to do here? You understand what I'm saying? The number one question I ask when I'm selling people is one simple question. What are you trying to do? And people just tell me. I'm trying to do this. Well, I'm trying to do this. Well, I'm trying to do this. So is connection a skill? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. How many of you know people that are really, really good at connection? Do you think those people make more money than other people? Yeah. Of course they do. So when I want you thinking about skill, if you think about the top door-to-door people in the world, yes, some of them are great at closing. Some of them are great at connection. Some of them are great at disarming. But the way you disarm a person is you just be friendly. Right or wrong? 100%. Just talk to people. Man, you got a beautiful house. So good to meet you. I'm honored to be here. Man, I'm excited about being part of what we're doing. Like, you just be friendly to people. That's how you connect. Then what happens is you disarm people. And you just talk to them. Just talk to them. Like I routinely say, man, I'm fighting for you. I can't help you till you commit to something, but once you commit, I'm not going to let you fail. Right? I'm here to help move you from A to B. So big-time people have incredible knowledge of something. They're not generalists. They're specialists. Then they got impeccable skill, connection, communication, disarming. Okay? Then they've got a really high prey drive. Prey drive is an instinct. Prey drive is an instinct. And this is something a lot of people don't have. It's hard to teach this killer instinct. You know what I'm saying? Like there's an opportunity here. Go for it. Okay? Seems like you'd like to do this. Sounds like this is perfect for you. Man, it feels like you're ready to get started right now. Am I right about that? Mm-hmm. Sounds like, it seems like, it feels like. We lose 10% of momentum every day we don't take action.
Sounds like, seems like.
Feels like. pray. There's certain pray drive moments, which is a moment to go for it, man. Right? There was a girl I wanted to go out with in college named Summer Kirk. She was beautiful. And she was in class with me every day, and I was scared to death to call her. I finally got up enough courage to call her one night, and she answered, and I hung up. Because I didn't have any courage, man. I would just sit there in class and go, God, she's so beautiful. Gosh, she's so friendly to everybody. Gosh, it's like that movie, Something About Mary. You know what I'm saying? Like she was everything. But I didn't have the guts to just talk to her. A lot of salespeople get stuck in the friend zone. And the friend zone is where you just sit there and talk and talk and talk and talk and sell and sell and sell. And there was a big CEO in Minnesota once. I'm sitting there trying to sell him my products or services. And I'm going through my sales pitch. And I just kept talking. He finally said, will you shut up for the love of God and let me buy what you're selling me? He said, Coach, I made a decision the first time I saw you to hire you. All you got to do is tell me how I buy from you. And that taught me a valuable lesson. Sometimes we just keep talking, and we just keep talking, and we just keep talking. And what we need to do is just shut up and let them buy it. Would you agree? Sure. I've had salespeople just sit there on the phone and talk and talk and talk. The longer you talk, the easier it is to say no. So sometimes it's like, hey, seems like you want to do this. Would you like to get started? Pray drive. Confidence, boldness. So how many people said knowledge was their thing? Raise your hand if knowledge was your thing. It's a big one. I want to transcend selling for a second. People who are really, really good are very well spoken. They have a high connectivity to people. You could put them in anywhere. You could put them in Utah. You could pick them up and put them in Montana. You could pick them up and put them in New York City. Right? Like I'm convinced you could take me and put me into a sales role, no matter what it is, and I could sell something. Right? Because the skill of connection to people and the motivation is just what a lot of salespeople lack. How many people said skill was the problem? Skill. Okay, some of you. How many people said pray drive is the problem? All right, so let's unpack that one. Why did you say that?
I think it's, like you said, shut up and sell me what, sometimes I'm the guy who I want to build more rapport. I want to talk to him longer. I want to get more out of him. I want to make a connection. I want to find something that I can connect with.
Yep.
And then I lose sight of, sign on the dotted line type of thing a lot of the times because I'm so busy trying to gather all the information to make sure that I'm setting up, quality appointments or whatever, that I don't just give me your phone number, give me your name, your address,
That's right.
get out of there. So it's like a freight drive thing. I'm just kind of pulling back reins because I want to make sure.
And that's a consideration. So, see, if you were thirsty and I had this water right here, I could tell you it's Fiji and it's natural artesian water and it's from the islands, which is probably bull crap. I could tell you that it's a soft taste of solid rock. I could tell you, man, it's only made in certain parts of the world. Or I could just say, man, I got water and you're thirsty. Right. And I know it's ridiculously overpriced, but I got it right here and it's very convenient for you right now. Would you like to have it? Yeah. Simplicity. Everybody see that? You got windows. We got better windows. You don't like the windows you got, or it's costing you a lot of money on your bill, or whatever the case it is. We can help you. Would you like for us to help you? Everybody see that? That's sometimes. See, here's what I tell people. I'm friendly, but I ain't your friend. And you know why? I'm your coach. And I can't be your best friend if I'm going to be your coach. Because then you begin to devalue my coaching. See, when I'm on the phone with the person, I'm a total expert. So I was calling people on the way over here, and I was letting the Uber driver listen. I said, listen, this is for free. I'm going to let you listen to this. He was having a blast. He's like, man, that's awesome. I called first person I said, you know why you're on the phone with me? And he said, no. And I said, because I only call serious people. If you get on the phone with me, you must be serious. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you? He said, I'm real serious. I said, okay. So if we send over a contract right now, you going to sign it? Because I can't help you till you commit, but once you commit, I'm not going to let you fail. Right? We're just laughing, talking. I start off by saying something that's real strong. Man, the reason you're on the phone with me, because they told me you were real serious. Am I right about that? Were they right or wrong? Okay? How do you answer that question, by the way? You think people are going to go, no, I'm not serious at all. It's almost a question that you can't say, right? Well, if you're serious, serious people are bold. Serious people take action. Serious people are committed. Serious people say yes. Serious people take risk. So what would stop you from moving forward with me right now? They see that? Now, if you don't have skill and you do that, then you're going to come across as what? Arrogant. See, they did a study in 2008 of the top salespeople in the world, and they found 5 types of salespeople. The relationship builder, which is what most people are taught to be, especially where I live in the South. Hard worker, reactive problem solver, the challenger, and the lone wolf. Those are the 5 types of salespeople they found. 40% of all top salespeople are what they call challengers. And a challenger is an expert, right? So when somebody pushes back, okay, had a woman the other day, was about to sign up for my coaching, and she says, my partner cheated on me. We have a house together, we got a lot of things going on together. So I said, I understand. I've been through a terrible breakup before. I've taken an engagement ring back before. I was depressed for 6 months when I was 25 years old. I 100% understand what you're going through right now. And I bet it sucks. Right? Now the discernment is, I could push her to make a buying decision, but she ain't in a position to hear it. Everybody with me? I know what's best for her is to bounce back, study transition, get her confidence back. But if I try to sell it to her right now, she ain't having it. Okay? Now I could push a little bit, create a little bit of tension. But the discernment in me is like, hey, I'm here. I believe in you. Now what could I do to build some relationship with her?
Ask about it.
Yeah. After that one phone call, what could I do?
Follow up.
I could just follow over and say, man, hope you're having a great day today. I'm fighting for you. You need me for anything, I'm right here. Right? Knowledge, skill, desire, confidence. Confidence, boldness. Boldness is the willingness to ask another person for something. Connection is I need to try to understand where you're coming from. So what's a simple tool when you're trying to connect to another person? Just say this when they tell you something. Tell me more about that. Just tell me more. Man, I have a rough day today. Tell me more about that. Because there's some days I have rough days. See, selling is not all technique. Technique is one part of selling. Skill. Connection is a part of selling. Having the boldness to ask is a part of selling. What happened to the old days of just genuinely helping another person solve a problem and making a sale that way? That be fair? Yes or no? What are you trying to do? How can I help you? Now, let's get into, on your sheets, I want you to write down 2 things. On the left side, I want you to write down A, the letter A. If you do this exercise in your mind too, if you want to. So it would look like on the left side, you just write down A. On the right side, I want you to write down B. A is your current position in life. It's where you currently are. Okay, there's 2 types of people. There's what's called a strategic optimist. And a strategic optimist is a person that don't worry about much, thinks everything's going to work out fine, pretty positive and upbeat, show up, just do their thing. Then there's what's called a defensive pessimist. And a defensive pessimist is a person that actually focuses on all the things that could go wrong. And because they focus on all the things that could go wrong, they mentally rehearse so it don't go wrong. There's no right or wrong here, by the way. I am a defensive pessimist, which means I mentally rehearse what could go wrong and all the things that could go wrong, which forces me to prepare and prepare and prepare so it don't go wrong. Nick Saban, defensive pessimist. Okay? 26% of the players in the NFL said if they had any coach they could play for, they would play for Pete Carroll. Because he looks like a player's coach. Smiling, upbeat, high-fiving, right? And then they asked the players, was it easy playing for Pete Carroll? Seems like he must be great to play for. They said, man, he has the most incredible expectations of you that you could ever imagine. He expects you to be your best every day. Just the way he does it makes it feel positive, right? Well, when I'm doing this exercise, A is your current position in life. B is your defining ambition, meaning where you're trying to go. B is where you're trying to go in the future. It is your ideal outcome. I do this exercise over and over and over. I write out all the things I don't like currently. All the scenarios in life I don't like. I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. And then at B are all of the things, if I had my ideal way, what it would be. And they're big. And I earn this much income per year. And I fly private everywhere I go. And I get to spend this much time with my kids. And I get to do this. These are anything that I want is my B. I may have 100 Bs. Everybody see that? And when I wake up, I move toward my B. Now, who are the top producers in the room? Raise your hand if you're a top producer. Okay? Now, how many of you stay frustrated a lot as a top producer? There's a lot of frustration. All right? There's a book out there called The Gap and the Gain. See, the gap between where I am and where I want to be motivates me, drives me, right? That's why I get up every day. That's why I go get it. At the same time, it also frustrates me because I'm not there. And when you get there, you just move the goalpost. So a lot of times very successful people have a lot of anxiety. And they have anxiety because they never can get to where they're trying to go. The B is the ideal mental construct. So I get up and I move toward that B, and then I get there and it's like, okay, I'm bored now. Now I move to B. Now I got to go here. So I'm in this constant state. So the gap and the gain says this. There'll always be a gap in your life between where you are and where you would like to be. By the way, where you would like to be is a mental construct. Everybody see that? The guy told me Michael Jordan had a place in Park City. Michael Jordan's worth $2 billion, $2 billion. And you may say, man, if I was worth $2 billion, I'd be 100% happy. Well, if you put him in a room with Jeff Bezos, Bezos is worth $200 billion. There's a significant gap between Jordan's wealth and Bezos' wealth. Jordan may be sitting there going, I've done nothing. Right or wrong? Look at me, man, I've done nothing here. That dude's worth $200 billion. This gap both motivates and frustrates at the same time. So the concept is to focus on the gain. And the gain is, instead of always looking forward to where you should be, look at somewhere you used to be in the past.
Coach, what's that book called?
The Gap and the Gain. See, you look at Jefferson, if he goes back to his past, when he talks about his story, on drugs, going nowhere, goofing around with all the wrong people. My wife did drugs every day for 3 years, from 21 to 24. Lost and confused, shut it down one day. See, it'd be very easy for us to constantly live in this gap between where we are and where we used to be. The gain says, man, look at where I used to be. Used to be on drugs, doing nothing. Now I'm running a company. Now I got great people. Now I'm doing big things in the world. The gain keeps you in a mindset of gratitude. I'm not where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. Everybody see that? You go out tomorrow and you're just a little bit better because of the coaching we did today, that's a gain. Yes or no? Yes. And it may not even turn into a sale. You just are a little bit more confident. You're just a little bit better. Tomorrow you connect with the person a little bit stronger. That's a gain. So the book is this A to B. So this A to B exercise I do, I make all my top people do it. And I ask them a simple question, what's your B? And people say, well, my B is I want to earn $150,000 a year. I want to do this. I want to be happier. I want to quit being so anxious and frustrated. I want to quit having all this anxiety about money. I want to, right? That's my B. Every day you wake up and you move toward the B. Now, but this is not what a lot of people do. Every day they get up and they're distracted. Drama, low-level conversations, issues, this. And instead of moving toward the B, they get distracted, which means to pull apart. Now, the question is, what would make you want to get out there? Because one of Jefferson's things was, how do you stay motivated every day knocking doors? How do I stay motivated after 30 years of doing this? 30. You know how many talks I've given 30 years? You know how many planes I've been on in 30 years? You know how many hotels I've stayed in 30 years? From cheap hotels, to bad food, to delayed flights. How does a person keep going over and over and over and over and over? And I am convinced it's because of one thing that I'm going to share with you right now. It's because of your because goals. Okay? Now, a because goal is a reason that is deep in you that would prompt you to take an action. Okay? Let me give you an example. I grew up a single mom. My dad never came to a baseball game. He never hugged me. He never told me he loved me. It's totally absent from my life. I remember my mom saying, you got to go to your dad's for the night. It's like once every other 6 months. I remember as a kid going, I don't want to go. Like, I don't even know who he is. We don't have a relationship at all. Like, I would just go down in the basement, play by myself at his house. Like going to a complete stranger's house. Everybody see that? Because of that, I made up my mind I'm going to be a good father. Because my dad wasn't a good father. Everybody see that? Because I grew up poor, I made up my mind I wasn't going to be poor anymore. And I would never be poor again. Because I stayed in crappy hotels around the world when I was starting this speaking career, I made up my mind I was going to make enough money to stay in suites when I go on the road. Everybody with me? Because I now have 2 children with one on the way, I made up my mind I want to fly private everywhere I go. And you say now, how does that affect selling? When I remember my because goals, guess what I do? Anytime I'm sitting there and I don't feel like making a sales call, I don't feel like following up, I don't feel like knocking on a door, I don't feel like going the distance, guess what I remember? All my because goals. And those because goals prompt me to go, you know what? Let me pick up this phone. Let me call somebody. Let me follow up. In your world, let me knock on a door. Let me keep going every day when I don't feel like doing it today. See, there's a lot of belief about find your why, start with why. And I'm not opposed to that. I just think knowing my purpose doesn't prompt me to pick up that phone. My because goals, to me, Covey called it translate the mission to the moment. Like I woke up today and I don't feel like, man. I don't feel like knocking on a door. But because I'm so sick of driving the car I'm driving, because I'm so sick of not having any money, because I want to have a better life for my family than I had, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go knock on doors. See how strong that is? Mm-hmm. So I ask people, what are your because goals? And when you know your because, and I don't care what they are, by the way. Because something happened to you in the past, because you want more, because you want a better life, because somebody's dependent on you, because you got screwed over. Like it really doesn't matter to me. What you got to get clear on, man, is I got to remember my because goals. And then I got to translate that mission to that moment. So I want you to take a second right now and I want you to write down 3 to 5 of your top because goals. So I see everything from houses to Winnebagos or trucks, guns, How many of you know what to do every day when you go out there? How many of you know what to do when you get out there? But for some reason you just don't do it. See, the word decide means to kill something off. When you're selling something to another person, you're helping them make a decision, which means to cut something away. What you're killing off is fear, doubt, insecurity, vacillation, lack of confidence. Right? You're helping a person make a decision. Does that take confidence? Because you got to have enough confidence for you and them, because they're scared. Well, because goals, see, some of you are not clear enough on your because goals yet, and they don't run deep enough. So when you get out there, you listen to your feelings. Amateurs listen to their feelings. Professionals do not listen to their feelings. Right? So the amateur salesperson says, man, I just don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like going, I just don't feel like doing it. The professional football player don't feel like getting hit that bad on Sunday. But they know how much they're getting paid to catch the football. The professional artists don't feel like singing the same song over and over and over. But that's what they're getting paid to do. Everybody see that? So when I think about my because goals, there's a direct correlation between these vision boards. I got a G-Wagon this year. It's $354,000. It was marked up. The sticker price was $172,000. $354,000. That's how much they can sell those things for. There's only 7,000 of them in the United States. And they're not making a V8 next year. They're only making hybrids. So the V8s are only going to be more valuable because they're going away. Everybody with me? So I get this G-Wagon, red interior. It's just bad, man. But remember, I grew up poor. And I'm like, man, what am I doing? Why am I already had a Range Rover. Like, why do I need a G-Wagon? The Range Rover's nice. And the next day after I get it, I'm telling my wife, I'm like, what did I do yesterday? Like, why did I do that? Because once you go see it and get in it, it's like over. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine trying to negotiate down a G-Wagon? Yeah. Can you imagine how silly you would look if you said, hey, can you knock $5,000 off this? No, we can't, because there's 5 more people who will buy it if you don't want it. We can't even keep them. They're there for a day. So I called my buddy on the way home who has all these expensive cars the next day, and I said, man, help me to understand this. He said, how do you feel when you step up into that G-Wagon and crank that engine? I said, I feel like a bad little dude. I said, you know how I feel? Unique. I feel special. I feel like right? I feel like somebody. Tim Grover, who wrote Relentless, you guys know Grover, called me and he said, man, just cranking the engine is awesome. You know what it does for me? It activates my prey drive. Does that make sense? Just turning the engine on activates my prey drive in some kind of way. Just driving it. You just feel different. Right? And sometimes in life you need things that reactivate your drive, that make you want to go get it. Because I can't imagine taking that thing back because I couldn't afford it. Does that make sense? Like, that'd be embarrassing. Like, I got to bring it back, man, because I can't afford it. So you know what that because go? Always wanted to have something that nice. You know what that does? Make me pick up that phone and sell something. Make me call and connect with the person. Make me go deeper with the concept, even when I don't feel like it. See what I'm saying? See, you got to remember these because goals, because this overcomes your feelings. When I see low-level salespeople, their because goals are too small. You don't have any because goals. So you listen to your feelings all day. And all this stuff on the vision board just lives in your mind. It doesn't live in reality because you don't manifest it. And you don't manifest it because you're still playing at an amateur level. Right? All right, I'll end this session on this. I'm doing a lot of work with Kevin Elko, psychologist at Alabama. Nick Saban, psychologist. He was with me yesterday at the lodge. He said, I'm going to bring a guy with me named John Dorenbos. Played in NFL, long snapper. When Dorenbos was under 10 years old, he watched his father walk into his house and kill his mother. And he saw it. And something triggered in him during that period of seeing that. And he said, man, I'm going to grow up and be somebody someday. And he went on to be, in the NFL, long snapper. While he was in the NFL, he was also on America's Got Talent, simultaneously while he was playing in the NFL. And the dude said, I was playing for the Eagles, and I practiced at training camp all day, 8 to 5. I'd get on a plane in Philadelphia and fly to Los Angeles and shoot the show for 4 or 5 hours, get back on a plane, fly back to Philadelphia, and be at training camp the next morning. That's all the way across the country. He's doing magic tricks. He's on there talking to them. So he gets right down to the end, and he's about to win. And the night they're going to do the finale in Vegas is the same night they're supposed to play the Dallas Cowboys. And he just looked at me and said, man, I can't do it. I have to go play this football game, so I'm not signing the papers. And he thinks he's just devastated because he's about to win America's Got Talent is what it is. He's about to win America's Got Talent. He's about to go on to be a star. He's about to change his whole life. He's going to get out of the NFL, and he can't sign the papers to do this because he's got a football game on that Saturday. He can't do both. He goes back to Philadelphia. They play the Cowboys. He doesn't win America's Got Talent. They trade him to another team, and as part of the deal, they forced him to do a physical. When they did the physical, they found out he had a hole in his heart, that he was probably just a few days away from dying. They fixed the hole in his heart, right? He goes on to finish his football career. He had more votes on America's Got Talent than any other person ever in history, and he still didn't win because he didn't sign the papers to do the deal. But he would tell you, because he didn't sign the papers, because he played the football game, because they traded him, because they did the exam on him, they found the hole in his heart, and he's still alive because it worked out that way. And so he come to my lodge yesterday, and I really didn't even know how big time of a dude he was. Like, he's on Ellen every other week. Ellen loves him. And so he's me, Elko, which is Saban's coach, and Dorenbos. And Dorenbos is bold. I mean, he walks in, he's talking to everybody. He's got a confidence and a boldness about him. And I said to him, man, where did this come from? He said, man, you watch your dad shoot your mom. And you ain't afraid of nothing. Forever. Right? He said, I made up my mind I was going to do something big. And I ain't afraid of anything. And that's what, as we were shooting this footage, I kept going, man, the dude's bold. Man, he's got guts. Man, he's got, right? Just coming out of him. He's got big because goals. Right? And when you got big because goals, you'll get on a plane in Philadelphia and fly to LA, and you'll go around the country, and you're not afraid of anything. And he came to me because he said, man, I don't know how to make money with my coaching and speaking. I'm getting booked to speak around the country. I'm on Ellen, but I have no products. I have no coaching services. And I really need your help. And if you could just help me solve this problem, Coach, man, we'll do big things together. See? That's big because goals, guy. If you don't have these, you're going to go out there and knock on doors and you're just going to go through the motions. And there's no heart, no real power, no real confidence. And it's going to be a burden to you, man. It's going to be a burden to you. It's a good first session. You guys agree?
Absolutely.
All right, let's take a short break. Thank you. Take a short break. All right, let's talk about some things you took away from that first session, because to me, there's a big difference between motivation, inspiration, and activation. Okay? Inspiration means you get inspired. Okay? And that is a flash. It is a pray drive moment. Okay? And we're going to get into pray drive a little bit more in this session. But you can get inspired, and lots of people get inspired but then don't go do anything. You saw somebody, you watched somebody, you heard somebody, you watched the video, it was all good, but it doesn't translate into the mission to the moment. It's like, man, you still are not getting any better. Motivation means to move, and I always say you act your way into feeling, you don't feel your way into acting. See, if you were a big-time professional, like when I go into Scottsdale tomorrow or the next day, and those 500 people show up to see me, it don't matter if I'm motivated or not. Right? I got to get up there and do it. The football players got to get up and do it on Sunday. There's a big difference between playing on Friday nights and playing on Sunday. Right? So motivation is I'm moving. Activation is deeper inside of you, which is what my new book that I'm writing called Flip the Switch is about, which is how do I go deep with you and activate something so when I leave and go wherever I'm going next, this activated something inside of you. See, my wife that did drugs every day for 3 years, she came to one of my workshops. Her company paid $50 for her to come to one of my workshops on a book I wrote many years ago. She had never read a self-help book. See, something that day was activated inside of her. See, she's now writing her own books. She's now leading women. She's now doing other big things, right? So I didn't motivate her. I activated something inside of her that was dormant, was latent, undeveloped, untapped. Okay? I activated a pray drive. Okay? So that's what I'm trying to do. My work is more focused on how do I activate something deep inside of you that when I'm gone, some of you, Jefferson calls me 3 weeks from now and says, man, I don't know what happened to this dude or that girl, but man, you activated something inside of them that was coming alive. See, to me, the selling part is easy. There's money everywhere. There's more money been pumped into the United States in the last 12 months than ever. They have printed like 40 to 50% of all the money that has ever been circulated in the United States in the last 12 months. There is more money out there. It is literally everywhere. And it's just paper that is exchanged for value. But if you have this mindset that it's hard to get, I don't know who to call, I don't know what to do, I don't know. Like, to me, that part's easy. The hard part is how do I get up every day and go hit it every day? And how do I have that drive? And more importantly, we got in this conversation on the break, and you guys ask great questions. That's what I love about door-to-door people. If you don't know my relationship with door-to-door people, Sam Taggart hired me to be one of the main speakers at door-to-door a few years ago. And I had never done anything in the door-to-door industry. I told my team, I'm like, man, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Like, I don't even know what to expect. I don't know if they have any money, don't have any money. Like I grew up and the only door-to-door experience I had was a company in Nashville called Southwestern that sold books door-to-door. Everybody see that?
Encyclopedia.
Like solar and windows and all roofing, all the stuff you guys do, it was totally foreign to me. So I had zero expectation when I came to Utah to do that event. And I didn't think I was very good. The way the stage was set up, and if you notice that year is me, Milet, Grover, and all the speakers had an edge about them. And it was because of the way the stage was set up with the lights, we on stage couldn't feel anybody's energy. If you remember, Milet was like pissed off the whole talk. He's like, why ain't you taking notes? Like, what's wrong with you? Well, it was because of the way the stage was set up. All the lights were on the speakers. I couldn't see anybody. And I couldn't, because there was such distance, I couldn't feel any of the energy back. So if you remember, Grover came out, then he walked back off stage and said, I'm going to come back out again. Y'all need to get up. All the speakers were all just pissed. Because we're like, man, what's wrong with these people? But that wasn't the case. Because that day, I finished thinking I was just average. I walked off stage and I said, I'm going to mentor people here. Because I didn't know what to offer you guys. I didn't know what kind of offer to make. I literally had no idea what to sell you. Because I'd never worked with any door-to-door people. So I walked off the stage, and I remember Chelsea Colbreth, who was the president of my company at the time, I think. I said, man, I was terrible. 500 door-to-door people followed me over to the table to get involved in mentorship. 500, like, boom. And I'm like, where'd this come from? I'm like, man, I like these people. They're rabid, and they're tough, and they're right. Like, they're like me. They're hungry. And so, I fell in love with door-to-door people that day. I walked out there going, man, these are my people. I like these people. So, since then, man, I've been coaching all kinds of door-to-door people. Whether, I've coached Michael O'Donnell, I've been his coach, Jefferson's coach. Who else in the door-to-door industry, Fusel. I've coached a lot of people in the door-to-door industry, right? But there is something to be said about being a warrior, man, and just going out there into the wild every day and getting it and not knowing what to expect, right? You understand where I'm going with this? Mm-hmm. Like a lion, and just going, I don't know what's going to happen, man, but I'm going out into the jungle. And I have a deep respect for that because so many people don't have that. Okay? So, and I'm convinced if you can sell door-to-door, you can sell anything. Like, you really learn the skills you need to be great. So activation is what I'm trying to do with you is activate your prey drive. And some of you have, this is a new concept for you. Prey drive is prevalent in animals. An animal has a prey drive. P-R-E-Y-D-R-I-V-E. Okay? I heard this concept 3 years ago. It's the first time I'd ever heard it. I was at a workshop. Vietnam veteran was teaching the workshop, and he kept referring to prey drive. And I was sitting by my wife, and I'm like, man, what is he talking about? So I Googled it. Prey drive. Animal's instinct to stalk, capture, kill prey. That's prey drive. So I'm sitting there, I'm going, now this is interesting to me. Because I've been coaching since I was 15 years old. Now I'm 41. It's 20-some years of coaching. And I looked at my wife and I said, that's what I've been acting. I said, here's my exact words to her. Humans have a prey drive. It's a deep drive to pursue something. Not to stalk, capture, and kill prey. But to get up and freaking go get it. To see something that you want. In the mind. Right? Like all of this is in the mind. Right? I ask people, where does your imagination live? Like this house right here, this lives in your imagination.
That's mine.
Right? I love it. Here's the,
You guys come visit.
here's the deal.
Where's your boat? No, let's go here.
You go there in the mind before you go there in the body. All things are created twice. First mentally and then physically. So prey drive is the instinct to see something with the eyes, optically, like I see something I want. Right? G-Wagon, I want it. House, I want it. Nicer car, I want it. Better life, I want it. Right? Not to ever have to worry about money for the rest of my life.
I want it.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. See, I want it. So the prey drive is this instinct, this killer instinct inside of me, right? But it has to be activated. And I observe a lot of people. I guarantee if I took Jefferson back there and the brothers, and I said, all right, tell me who here has got a lot of talent, but is missing the prey drive. And I guarantee they could say, hey, these four right here have all kinds of talent, They could make a fortune in the door-to-door industry. But they're missing this just pure drive to go get it every day. See, what good is it to have talent with no pray drive? Right? I played a young lady on my team when I was a basketball coach, and nobody could figure out why I played her. And there was a more talented kid on the team that sat on the bench the whole time. Right? And parents would come up to me all the time like, man, why do you play that girl? She's not any good. Why aren't you playing that girl? She's so much better. And I would just sit there and listen. I'd say, we were out in California playing a game, running down the floor. Girl elbows this girl, knocks her front tooth out. The girl I play reached down and picked it up, ran it over to me and handed it to me. Said, here you go, coach. Went back out and started playing. I called them parents together. Said, hey, y'all been asking me for 3 or 4 weeks now why I play that girl. Said, she got her front tooth knocked out right in the middle of the game. She picked it up, she brought it over to me and kept on playing. That's why I play her. I said, she shows up every day. She does whatever I tell her to do. I got 100% trust in her. And she ain't even close to as talented as that other girl. But that other girl, man, I've tried every strategy I know to activate her drive, and I can't do it. Talent with no drive is of no value. Everybody see that? I would take an A in mindset and a B in talent any day over an A in talent and a B in mindset. See, this business is just getting up every day and how do I go get it again today? How do I go get it again today? I don't feel like it. It's all right. I'm not an amateur. Amateurs listen to their feelings. Selling is a game of probability. The more doors you knock, the more money you make. The more people I talk to, the more money I make. You don't need more money, you need more people. Right? People reward effort. It is our human nature. So pray drive, first step is it has to be activated. Now, how often do you think we have to activate it?
Every day. Every moment.
I'm telling you, every freaking day. And even throughout the day. It's like I had it this morning, then I stopped and ate lunch, now I lost it. Right? If you study the animals in the jungle, every day they get up and go hunting. The tigers, the lions, every day they go get it. Every day. They have just enough food for the day. And then they wake up the next day and they go get it again. And they go get it again. See, what I learned as a basketball coach that I didn't know I was learning is that you could play on Tuesday night and win, get lazy and complacent on Wednesday and Thursday, and go out 3 days later and get beat. And that was embarrassing. It's embarrassing to be in the newspapers and you got beat and you wasn't supposed to get beat and you didn't play hard. What I learned is that it all goes to zero at midnight. What I learned is we go to bed tired and we wake up hungry. What I learned is what takes years to build up can take seconds to tear down. So I operate in this concept of how do I activate my drive today? And then how do I activate it throughout the day? Okay? And then how do I, just to take an action, right? Just to take an action. How do I reactivate my drive every day? So there's 3 components of this. I want you to write these 3 things down. So pray drive is instinct. And I can show you how it's all over selling. I got to have pray drive to get up and go knock on the door. I got to have pray drive to follow up. I got to have pray drive to go for the close. I got to have pray drive is everywhere in the sales cycle. Number 1, must be activated. And I would tell you 8 out of 10 people, it has not been activated. Or there is a whole nother level. There is a whole nother level to your pray drive that you ain't even tapped into yet. Okay? Number 2, there must be a persistence to this pray drive. And this is really the willingness to sacrifice, to wake up and do things I don't want to do, to persist. I've operated for so long, for so many years, through fatigue, through tiredness, through whatever, that it's like a normal to me. Like I don't even recognize it. I don't even recognize when I'm tired. Right? I don't even say, well, I'm tired, man. I don't feel like doing this. Like I've done it for so long, I don't even know how not to do it. Like there'll be times I'm having a talk, like 4, 5, 6 talks in a day, and I'll go, man, I'm going to take this one easy. I'm not going to put a bunch of energy into it. I'm just going to kind of stay calm. And then I'll get in there and coach, and I just get so jacked up and decide I don't even know how not to do it. Everybody with me?
Yeah.
And my team will be like, I thought you were going to take it easy. And you know why I tell them? I don't know how to take it easy. I've done it for so long at such a level, I don't even know how to bring it down. That's persistence. Long obedience in the same direction. Every day, just doing it and doing it and doing it. Even when I don't feel like it, just doing it. And then over time, that becomes your new normal. Right? Ever how many doors you knock on a day, it just becomes your new normal. I got a new sales guy on my team, came from AT&T, and he cold call people, and he'll get a sale, and then he'll get up and go talk to people and walk around, tell them about the sale he made. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Go get another one. He's like, man, AT&T, once we hit our quota for the day, we shut it down. Wow. I'm like, you ain't at AT&T anymore, brother. Yeah. In my office, when we get a sale, we go get another one. Yeah. And when we hit our daily quota, we try to bust through that quota. His wife came to me the other night at one of our events. She pulled me to the side. She said, man, my husband has never had somebody push him like you do. She said, I just want to thank you because my husband has so much talent, but he's never had somebody up in his face like this. She said, he's worked harder in the first 30, 60 days for you than I've seen him work in 10 years at AT&T. Wow. Right? Because he was used to hitting the quota, calling it a day. Then come back next day and hit the quota. I said, number one, your quota's too low if you hit it every day. Yeah. Right? If you hit it every day, it's got to be too low. If you hit something so many times, then you need to say, my quota needs to be higher. Not, well, let's just call it a day, man. I said, you got to learn the muscle of persistence, brother. Of just keep, boom, banging on it, right? Third piece of prey drive is intensity. There is an intensity to a prey drive, like the cheetah attacking something in the jungle. Every now and then I watch those, Facebook videos where, the jungle where the cheetah's fighting and chasing the giraffe, and the giraffe's up on the giraffe's back, and the giraffe's throwing it off and running away. Man, it's a freaking jungle. Well, intensity to me is, I got big goals and I got limited time. So I want to talk about intensity like this. I don't have time for your drama. I don't have time to associate with people that are subtracting from my life. I don't have time to talk about something that don't matter. I don't have time to get focused on something small over here because I got a big B, and I got to move toward that B with an intensity, right? And that is the coach in me. The coach in me is we got 32 minutes, we got 4 quarters, we got 8 minutes a quarter, we got a game to win. I ain't got time for all this other stuff. Everybody see that? It's interesting because I'm around a lot of big-time people. Jefferson's paid a lot of money to be around a lot of big-time people. I very seldom hear them talk about any drama. Like they literally don't have time for it. It don't even come out of their mouth. You don't even take it to them. Like, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Or hey, what are these two doing over here? It's like, man, I ain't got time for that. So I want you to think about your prey drive. And where do you struggle? Is it the activation of the prey drive? And I'm actually going to show you how to activate it every day. Is it the persistence of the prey drive? Or is it your intensity of the prey drive? Okay? So just tell the person beside you. Activation, persistence, and where do you struggle out of those 3? Take a second and tell them right now. Activation, persistence, intensity. You having fun? Good.
What's that ring from?
That's one of my championship rings when I was a coach.
Oh, really?
It's actually my favorite team. That was my favorite. That team was 38-3.
38-3, wow.
Yep. And just a reminder to me of how much work we put in, how much time, sacrifice. Good memories. Now I'm gonna throw a wrinkle in this just a little bit. Because I'm trying to, I don't use the word balance a lot here. I'm trying to balance something in my own life. So I'm getting coached by this guy, Blanchard. And I got an intensity about me. I'm like, I got to become famous. That way I can help more people. Right? I got to hit my sales numbers. And he said, was Covey your mentor? I said, yeah. He said, Covey never talked about being famous. He talked about being effective. He never talked about money. Although his company was a $264 million company. He said the more people he helped, the more money he made. He said, so I can understand your intensity to want to be known, famous. He said, but could it be that you'll become more known and famous when you really go connect with more people?
Absolutely.
So this is something I'm trying to reconcile. I'm a very numbers-driven person. We're trying to get to a certain revenue number every day. We're trying to hit certain goals. So I'm trying to balance how does this being better for people turn into money, right? How does going deeper with people turn into more money? And I'm trusting that the more effective I am. I was watching a thing on T.D. Jakes on the way out here, his pastor. And he said, I never set out to be famous. He preached in a little church in West Virginia for 10 years to 100 people. He said, I always set out to be effective. And the more effective I became, the more famous I became. But I didn't ask to be famous. See where I'm going? So I'm trying to balance my own intensity because I push people so hard. Right? And sometimes I push them and they just can't handle that intensity. And they can't get through. So I'm trying to balance my connection with people with my intensity. And I think there's a balance there between pushing so hard, but just this. Like I'm really here to help you. You see where I'm going? Okay? I'm here to help you move from A to B. That's all I'm here to do. And if I do that, okay, so I'm intense and I'm positive. A lot of people get intense and become very negative. My nature is to be negative because I'm a defensive pessimist. Everybody with me? I've had to train myself to be positive. Okay? And this is hard. Because all I'm trying to do is get more out of you. I'm actually trying to get you. So I got a guy on my sales team that I love. I absolutely love him. But I just cannot flip the switch in him. And there's been days I just wanted to give up on him, man. There's been days I just go home and tell my wife, man, he does not have it in him. Like I've tried everything. I can't keep going. And my wife will look at me, and Jefferson knows my wife. She's straight up with me, man. She's like, you are the number one activated parade driver in the world, ain't you? I'm like, thanks. Yes. She said, then you'll find a way to activate that drive in him. I said, well, I'm trying this. That don't work. Embarrassment don't work. Environment don't work. Exposure hadn't worked. Competition hadn't worked. Like I'm going through my checklist, and I know the dude wants a better life. I see him struggle financially. I see his family struggle. I see the anxiety in his life. And I'm like, but dang, man, I just can't figure out how to get it out of him, right? But see, I can't, and there's been times I was like, man, I want this so bad for you, I can't see straight. He's making $100,000 a year. I think he made $110,000 last year working for me. But he's just not getting any better. You with me? And I'm just sitting there every day like, so I've tried this, then I've tried this, then I've tried not talking to him. Right? Then I've tried like talking to him. Then I've tried emotional. Then I've tried getting him out of the environment. Then I've tried taking him on the road. Then I've tried keeping him at home. Like I'm like, man, I just keep. But I know it's in him. I know he's got the right. He's got big because goals. I just can't flip the switch in this dude. Because the truth is, he ought to be making $250,000 working for me. Now, part of the problem is he's making more money than he's ever made in his life.
Oh, there it is.
See, he worked for 26 years as a basketball coach, never made more than $72,000 at his peak. He come to me within his third year, he made $144,000 1 year working for me. So he's at a peak, like a set point. And when you hit to a set point, here's what happens. You make up your mind, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need any more. Well, it ain't about that number. It's about you versus your potential. Okay, I worked at a call center in St. Louis. They literally got their workers at Burger King. They pulled them out of Burger King. They'd go over and recruit them at Burger King. They'd go over and order a burger or something. They'd say, man, I got an insurance call center over here. My people are making $50,000 to $100,000. Would you like to come over here and work? We'll give you the tools, the training, the coaching, the environment. They'd literally quit at Burger King, go over here, work at this call center. Then they'd start making $50,000 a year. Then they got a new problem. What's the new problem? They can't get them to want to make 100. So they call me in and they say, we can't activate their pay drive, coach. They're completely satisfied, making $50,000 a year. Because they were making $25,000 at Burger King. Everybody see that? So I want you to remember this. Satisfied needs never motivate people, only unsatisfied needs. This is why when you get to a certain level, you get comfortable. This is why when we get married, we get lazy. Hey, we get a divorce, all of a sudden we're in the gym. Looking good, getting her hair trimmed up, right? We get comfortable, man. That is the nature of humans, is to get comfortable in life. And I actually believe there's a difference between laziness and complacency. Lazy people don't know how to work hard, right? I got a cousin, he's lazy. He's lazy his whole life, lazy when he worked, couldn't keep a job. Couldn't stay focused on anything. He's lazy. Never had to work hard. Don't know how to work hard. No, I could try to motivate him, but he's not interested. That's different than a person that has talent, potential, has been successful. Now they become complacent. They have gradually settled to a place of mediocrity. See, great people can become complacent. Everybody with me? So I saw a question over here.
It was regarding your positivity and how you were leaning towards you're more of a negative person, right? Do you think there's a difference between like being realistic and then being negative?
Yeah. When I say I was negative, I was raised by a really tough single mom. And she is, part of her survival instincts was to just be tough. Does that make sense? She wasn't trying to be negative. She just didn't know any other way to do it. So it's like we dress up, we show up, and we got into this conversation on the break about pray drive. Some of you were conditioned early in life to have a high pray drive by your parents. They don't let you whine, they don't let you complain, they don't let you write. You show up, you grow up and deliver, you get up and make your bed in the morning. You are tough, because that's how that was the early conditioning of your life. But not everybody has that, right? A lot of my pray drive was deeply instilled in me by that woman. So my negativity is more like, what's wrong with you, man? Why are you so lazy? Why won't you make phone calls? Why won't you go out there and get it? Why won't you knock on the door? Why won't you follow up? Like my negativity comes across sometimes as a lack of empathy, right? For you as a person. Like, I don't know what's going on in your life. You may be going through a breakdown. You may be going through a heartache. You may be going through something. You follow me? So as a motivator to a lot of people, I have to keep stepping back, figuring out which door can I come in with you that will activate your drive.
So you're mixing in a little bit of empathy towards the person.
Yes.
And then still holding them accountable.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
See, so my next play with this guy is just to sit down with him and say, man, I love you. I really want to help you get to that level. Something ain't working like it should. How can we figure this out together? And my guess is he's going to tell me, I don't want to be a salesperson. I really feel like I'm being called to do this over here, but I need the money. So I'm showing up physically, but I ain't here emotionally. And I'm trying to force him to be good at something he don't want to be good at. Everybody see that? And there's only so good you can be when you don't really want to be there. So how many of you think that activation is your primary struggle with pray drive? Every day. Okay? Now, how many of you think this industry right here will eat your lunch if you ain't activate every day? This is an industry, man, that's got no sympathy for you. Right? It's brutal. It's brutal. How many of you think persistence is the problem? The ability to just do it and do it and do it and do it. How many of you think intensity is the problem? Okay. Now, the reason I like to do this is because it gives us research. So the question becomes, okay, this is what Elko would tell me, Saban psychologist, is that once you have identified the missing structure, then that's what you focus on until that missing structure improves. So if I figure out that, hey man, I struggle to activate my prey drive every day, for the next 30 days, all I'm going to do is try to figure out how to activate it every day. If I struggle with persistence, I'm going to focus on persistence, doing things I don't want to do every day for 30 days. There was a guy in the book Atomic Habits that got up every morning and went to the gym. But he only stayed for 5 minutes. He did one exercise. Then he got in his car and he went home. The guy who wrote the book Atomic Habits actually said this was a good thing. Because it takes effort to get up in the morning when you don't feel like it, get dressed, and drive to the gym. And the first habit is just getting up and going there. He's actually building a habit because he could get up every day and go, but he just wouldn't stay. Well, how many people wanting to get up can go? So his argument is, over time, if he keeps this habit up, he'll extend the 5 minutes to 10 minutes and do 2 exercises and 3 exercises and 4 exercises. The next thing you know, he is building a habit. Right? I owned a gym for a period of time, right? It's one of the worst investments I ever made. Because I really learned, Jefferson, how hard it is to get people coming to the gym. And I really learned, when it comes to persistence, you know what I really learned? You miss one day, and it makes it so easy not to go back a second day. You miss 2 days, you miss 3 days, and what happens? Then you start going, man, you know what? I just ain't going back. You build a different kind of habit. So at night, when I book the gym I go to now, it's called Rock Box. I box for 30 minutes, then you do high intensity cardio. I really love it. And I book it the night before for 5 a.m. If you cancel within 4 hours, they charge you $12. It's a $12 cancellation fee. And I think that's the best thing in the world because you know what? I don't want to give them that $12. Not.
Is that your wife?
No. My because go for going to the gym is I know how I feel when I leave. I know how much better I operate when I'm in good shape. I know how much better I feel. My because is I want to be with the leading guy in the world at Prey Drive. And I can't be the leading guy in the world at Prey Drive if I don't have enough energy. So that's my because. I don't want to give them the $12. Now, so I book it at night. What does that do? That means I got to get up at 4:20 to be at the gym at 5. Ask me how many days I wake up feeling like going. Never. Not one day. I never roll out of bed and go, let's go. I roll out of bed and go, oh my gosh. Man, did I book this? Why did I book this? Why am I going at 5 o'clock? Why am I getting up at 4:20? Why am I doing this? That's how I feel. So my wife said, here's a trick a lot of the women use at the gym. They wait till in the morning and then they make up their mind on how they feel if they're going to go, and that's when they book it. What do you think I said? It's the worst thing you could ever do. Because you ain't never going to feel like. See, when I book it the night before, I'm committed. I'm committed because I ain't giving them the $12. That's just a little psychological penalty. And I ain't giving it to them. Everybody see that? You wake up the next day, you ain't going to feel like it. Persistence is over a long cycle of time doing something what? You don't want to do. Till you build the muscle where it's, I'm not listening to my feelings. I'm going to see this through to its conclusion. How many of you know people that start, fall off the wagon, feel guilty? Start, fall off the wagon, feel guilty. Okay. That's his cycle. Activation, persistence, intensity. Now, I'm going to show you one thing, and then we're going to take a break. How do you activate the prey drive every day? It's 4 parts of your nature. You need to activate it physically. Because physically activating your prey drive. Anytime I'm on the road and my prey drive is not activated, I go down to the gym for 20 or 30 minutes. And I just get out and walk or move. See, me going in the morning to the gym activates the prey drive. Everybody see that? Physically. Physically. And there's all kinds of physical things that happen in your body, the endorphins that are doing, the mind's thinking, it activates everything physically. Now, if you're going to be great at door knocking, do you think you got to get your mind ready for what your body's about to do? Yes or no? Yes. You got to get your body ready for it. You got to get your mind ready for it. So there's got to be a warm-up in the morning. It's like, all right, I'm going into battle. What do I got to do to go into battle day? I got to get my physical steps. So I wake up every morning. When I wake up, the first thing I do is I listen to some kind of positive music. Typically, It's a Great Day to Be Alive is a song I listen to. I may listen to Alex Aoni, Good Morning. Something positive. First thing. Because my mind wakes up what? Negative. My mind wakes up and is like, who's going to be a bozo today? Because somebody is. And I'm going to get an email from somebody that's acting stupid. Somebody's mad about something. My mind immediately goes into anxiety. And I go, nope. I physically do this, by the way. When my mind goes negative first thing morning, I go, nope, staying in creation mode. Nope, I'm not going there. Staying in creation. Nope, I'm not doing it. Staying in creation mode. When I'm creating is when I'm in my best. I'm not going negative today. How many of you wake up in the morning with anxiety? So I'll be honest. About money, about problems, about issues, about something. You got anxiety when you wake up. You need a little mental trick. And here's mine is, I just chop it. Boom. Chop it. I ain't going there. Staying in creation mode. Listen to something positive. Then I get in the car and I ride to the gym. Get dressed, ride to the gym, which is 15 minutes. I listen to something on faith because I'm a faith-based person. So I typically listen to a 15-minute sermon on my way to the gym. Right? I'm getting my mindset. I'm in the gain, not the gap. I'm living in the gain, not the gap. Chopped it out, positive. Go to the gym, work out hard for 45 minutes. Okay? Push. I leave. I typically do a morning video. I don't feel like doing the video, but I do it. I go home. I spend time with my wife and my kids for about 45 minutes. Put the phone down, and I just sit there and play with my son, my daughter. We talk. We have breakfast together. We just relax. That feeds my heart. So now I've fed my body. I fed my spirit. I fed my heart. Then my family goes to school. And then as I'm getting dressed, I listen to something on business. That activates my mind. Now look at what I've done. By 8 a.m., body, mind, heart, spirit. Okay? So I go through this the other day, and most days it works. This particular day I go through it, and I get in my car at 7:30, and I need to make phone calls. But guess what? I don't feel like making phone calls. So I'm like, man, I don't feel like doing it. I got to call this person. I don't feel like calling them. I got to call this person. I don't feel like doing it. Anytime I don't feel like it, remember this saying, I act my way into feeling. I don't feel my way into acting. So what do I do? When I'm in doubt, what do? I pick up the phone and call somebody. I take an action. And sometimes it's my current clients. Hey, man, just want to talk to you and tell you you're doing a great job. I'm proud of you. That morning, when I made that first phone call, the woman on the other side was so positive, so excited to talk to me, activated my prey drive. I'm like, boom, that's why we do this. Let's get back to them because goals. I wake up just like you do. Just because I've written 17 books on motivation and personal growth and all this stuff does not mean I wake up motivated. I wake up tired, mad, frustrated. I'm a high D, so I'm angry. High Ds are always angry because they're trying to get somewhere. They're not mad at people, they're mad at their situation. Everybody follow me? So I wake up just like you. I'm not knocking on doors, but I'm picking up the phone and calling people and selling people and following up and trying to close people and trying to help people. So I wake up demotivated. Okay? When I go to the gym, people, I don't talk to anybody at the gym. They probably think I'm rude or mean or something. Because one girl came up to me the other day, she said, man, do you not talk to people? Like I thought that's what you did for a living. I said, not in the gym, I don't. Because I'm trying to activate my prey drive. It is not activated yet. I'm going to the gym to try to activate it. See what I'm saying? Now, after I get into a flow and rhythm, so anytime I'm in doubt, anytime I don't feel like it, what do? I take an action. So I wake up deactivated, and this routine activates it. Now, let's say you go out and knock on doors, and you stop and take a break for lunch, and then, man, I just don't feel like it. What could I do? Takes an action. Change my energy. Move. Do something. Watch a video for 5 minutes. Do whatever you got to do to reactivate your prey drive versus waste the afternoon, which is what most people do. Doing nothing because I don't feel like it. Never underestimate the need to reactivate your prey drive over and over and over and over and over. Some of you just don't know how to activate it. So you go long cycles of time and it's deactivated, man. The greats win. What do they do after they win?
Win again.
They go right back and try to win again. They don't win and relax. They win and go, all right, let's build some momentum. Let's go get another one.
Set the bar high.
Let's go get another one. 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 I ain't finished. One more. Let's do one more. That's what the greats do. So you got to make up your mind if you're going to make a decision to be average or be great. That's not a decision I can make for you. Now, let's stop there. Let's take a break. Does anybody have any questions from that session? 3 phases of prey drive.
What would you say the number one thing to help activate the prey drive? Just take action, simply that?
I think your prey drive is, although it's inside of you, it's typically activated by an external factor. Meaning I need to see something. I need to hear something. I need something. And a lot of times, think about a time in your life where you really got screwed over. And you had a lot of emotion. See, I used to think emotion came from passion. Real emotion comes from you when you feel like you've been done really wrong. And that passion can be used. So I love, like this weekend, speaking at this conference, is me and Grover. I love that. Because that's a competition to me. Right? I love going to speak at something and I'm the underdog. I'm the least known guy. Like it's me, Cardone, Bradley, Grover. I want people to go, who is that dude? Because I don't know him. Right? I actually want people to go, he was better than all of them. Right? When I spoke at 10X, I wanted to walk off that stage and people go, that dude is the real deal. And I don't even know who he is. I need some kind of competition. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I was a coach for so long. If I don't have a competition, I'll make one. And if you don't think Grover's thinking the exact same way I am, he's like, I ain't letting Bert show me up. See, we're competitors, friendly competitors. So it's like, I'm gonna outdo you. No, I'm gonna outdo you. No, I'm gonna be better than you are. No, I'm gonna connect with the audience better than you do. No, I'm gonna sell more than you do. See what I mean? Like big time people need these things. So what I do when my prey drive is not activated is that it's not that I go looking for a fight, but I go looking for something. I go looking for just something that will activate that drive. And it could be, oh, you don't think I'm good enough. Thank you for that. Oh, you right? After I spoke at 10X, I was going to come back and speak at 10X again. I asked Cardone, why don't you invite me back, man? It was good. And he said, well, we're inviting people more famous than you. I'm like, okay. Thank you. Here's what he said to me. It ain't about content. You got the best content, but it ain't about content. It's about just famous people. I'm like, okay. I understand. I'll just have my own conference. You ain't gonna put me on your stage. I'll put myself on my own stage. I don't get offended. I'm just like, okay, thank you for that. See, when people slight me, I'm like, thank you. I needed that.
Fuel for the fire.
See, Michael Jordan was in a restaurant the night before they were going to play the Seattle Supersonics, and George Karl, the coach of the Supersonics, was in there. He didn't acknowledge Jordan. Jordan walked by his table, and George Karl knew he was in there, wouldn't look up and make eye contact with Jordan. Jordan just stopped. He's like, okay. The next night, he demolished Supersonics. All because Carl wouldn't say hi to him. Right? When you watch The Last Dance, Jordan talks about, I walked off the game, I walked off, and the dude wouldn't shake my hand. And I'll never forgot that he wouldn't shake my hand. Remember the year the Pistons got beat and they walked off the floor and they wouldn't shake the hands of the Bulls? See, Jordan, they went back and they asked Jordan, was it really true? Did he not shake your hand? He's like, I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. He would actually make up things to activate his prey drive. Right? Like you looked at me the wrong way. I'm going to score 63 points because you looked at me the wrong way yesterday. That's how Jordan thought. Like it's one of the greatest examples of prey drive ever if you watch The Last Dance. He just continues to reactivate it again and again, typically by something somebody else did to him or didn't do. Yep.
Or thinking about focus throughout this whole process, what's your bet? Because obviously there's a million things going mentally that you can take yourself, but as far as just like getting real focused, because you can only really complete shit with 100% intensity and mental, I guess, being there with focus. So what would you say is like one of your tips on focusing?
Cal Newport talks about this in the book Deep Work, which is what he basically says is that people that create great things in the world have total, undistracted, focused time on something. Okay? And the argument is all everybody's doing today is shallow work. Right? The person that sits in a welding studio all day long and welds something to where it's just right and is focused on it for hours and hours and hours that creates something that's beautiful is doing the deep work. They're great. When you see really great people, most of them have had long cycles of time in doing what? One thing. They didn't do 17 things. They focused, right? I believe for X number of hours per day, you should focus in on one thing. For the next 2 hours, all I'm doing is knocking on these doors. I ain't getting distracted by anything. I ain't talking to anybody, right? And I don't think people can do that today. They work, and then they check their phone, and then they talk to somebody, then they play on Instagram, and then they do this, and they cannot just buckle down and do the deep work. His argument is people who can do the deep work will be the people that make the most money because they will become the best. See, if I was knocking on doors, if I were you, I would be studying communication, how to disarm people, how to connect to a person. What are the best salespeople in the world do? What do the best communicators do? What are the best these people do? Like, if you're serious about this and you come interview for me, I'd ask you, what books are you reading? Who are you listening to? What podcasts are you on? And if you're not doing any of those things related to getting better at this, then I would tell you, you ain't that serious about this. I studied Covey for 7 years, not 1 year. Deep. That's deep work. See, and that was the best thing I ever did, guys. I didn't know any better, by the way. I didn't even know any better. Does that answer your question? Most of us have ADHD or would be prescribed as ADHD, including me. But I know to sit down and write a book, I got to sit down and write it, which is why I typically go away. And I lock myself up. And I go out and look for inspiration. And then when I lock in on it, it's like, boom, I'm going to sit here till this chapter's done. And I just buckle down, right? And most people can't do that, which is why they don't write the books. Okay? So to me, a because goal. I'm going to do this because of this. So that's my answer. Any more questions? And we got one session. We'll go probably 20 or 30 minutes, and then we'll wrap you up and get you out of here. Going through a simple exercise. Okay, now I want you to write this down. All right, my email is coach@coachburt.com. Okay, coach@coachburt.com. That's B-U-R-T, as in tiger. Coachburt.com. Okay, some of you have asked about coaching programs. I have programs that start at $199 per month, and that actually gets you a weekly session with me in a group setting through Monster Producer, and you get my online academy, full access to my online academy, which we have put into a curriculum base. And I cover prey drive, explanation of value, generation of leads, follow-up, conversion, referrals, person of interest, all of my content. I probably have more content on Lightspeed than any other Lightspeed client in the world because I create it. Every boot camp I do goes to my online academy. Okay, so when I do a live boot camp in Tennessee, like I just did one on Prey Drive, that immediately is uploaded to that online academy, and you have access to that if you're in there. So it's $199 per month. Okay, if you're interested in that, then email me, coach@coachburt.com. We'll get you set up. It's a 30-minute session each week in a group with me, live, because I do believe in the power of reactivating that drive every single week. That's why I set it up on a weekly basis. Then you got the online academy to train, and training is not something you did, it's something you do. And if you don't make more than $200 a month with what I'm teaching you, something's bad wrong. Okay? Now, we have obviously other programs. I do one-day boot camps, two-day boot camps. There's all kinds of things I do there in Tennessee. Some of you have been to my lodge, and I do a lot of those there, which is one of my favorite places. I do couples retreats with me and my wife, which are really powerful, about getting on the same page, doing something big. My wife wrote a book called Living with a Monster, which is about how you live with just an obsessed dude like me, and how do you have a good marriage when you're married to somebody who's, you know, made like I am, going, traveling, doing big things in the world. So if there's a way I can help you, just email me. If that program's not right for you, we'll do discovery with you, and I may say, man, you need to come to this. You need to come to this. This is what can really help you. I do have a new coach, a new mental coach, that does nothing but focus on unblocking people who are blocked on something. He is a drummer for Little Big Town, the country music band, and he was stabbed in a bar one night in the leg, in his hand, in the stomach. It was very traumatic. He laid up in bed for 8 months. He had all these dreams and vision of becoming a famous drummer. And while he was there, he just mentally rehearsed. Then he got better. He went down to Broadway in Nashville, played every night for different bands, and then he interviewed and became the drummer for Little Big Town. But he specializes in unblocking people who have some kind of block from going to do something big. See, I don't coach on that. I coach you on how to do it, how to activate the prey drive, but then what happens, and Jefferson knows this because he's been around me, some people just can't go do it. And they can't because they're stuck somewhere. They had some kind of trauma, they had some kind of issue, they have some kind of belief, and so we actually opened a space in Nashville called the Mental Gym. And when I'm coaching people, and I'm like, man, you need to get unblocked. I send them to the Mental Gym, and they go through about a 90-day series, and they get coached by Hubert. Hubert Payne is his name, and he coaches them through that blockage on what's keeping them from getting to the next level. So that may be an option for you. If you're hitting some kind of mental block, you can't get through it, you can't figure out why, could be that you just need to spend some time with him one-on-one. I don't do as much one-on-one coaching. When I do, it's very expensive, just because I coach so many people that I just don't do a lot of one-to-one. I coach people like this, and in those boot camps like at the lodge. Okay, so if we can help you, even if you don't purchase anything, you know, I believe it can help you if you do. I believe when you pay attention. And I have a coach right now that I'm paying a lot of money to, and I'm telling you there's a direct correlation between him coaching me and how much better I've gotten. Okay? Because if you guys saw me at my lodge a year ago with Sam Taggart, or even at Door to Door, I am significantly better today than I was then. And it has a lot to do with a direct correlation between me getting coached.
I think there's a correlation in how much time I've spent around you over the past year and a half.
100%.
And where I am today.
Yes.
Do you remember how I showed up when we first met?
Yeah. At the dinner?
In Idaho.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doggy.
When I first met Jefferson, I did this thing in Idaho, literally out in the middle of nowhere. And, you know, he's quiet, shy, not, you know, kind of a quiet guy, but hungry. And he just sat across from me and asked questions. And I could tell he wanted to learn and grow, but it was still very much in its infancy, right? Like his switch was just being flipped. Then I watched over the last 2 years go from that person who was at the beginning of that hunger cycle to today, which has been a significant. I mean, I'm sure if you guys work around him, y'all have seen it. Wouldn't you agree? But he's been in the room, and there is no substitute for that. Everybody with me?
Yeah. And 4 years ago, I got to see Coach speak for the first time at the 10X Growth Conference that you guys will have a chance to go to if you qualify.
Yep.
And I wanted to work with Coach, and I knew that I would work with Coach one day.
Yep.
But it was, my belief level wasn't quite there yet, that I was
Yep.
capable of it or that I was worthy of it yet. So it was, you know, even 2 years ago when we actually first met,
Yep.
it was the beginning of that exposure for him of where I was at, but
Yep.
that was, you know, that was still 2 years into my journey
Yep.
of trying to get better and get out of my comfort zone and put myself in the room with people that could help me.
Yep.
And then we were at a mastermind event that Coach was speaking at.
Mhm.
It gave me the opportunity to have kind of an intimate setting to get to meet him and now start to feel worthy. And then it's led to us being able to work together
right.
for the past 2 years.
That's right. Yep. And now Jefferson's getting on some of those stages to get up and share his message. So I see people dabble. This is my observation over a lot of people. They dabble a little bit. Like they'll show up at something and then I don't see them. And then they'll come into my life for something. The people who are really doing big things that I've coached, I have typically had some association with them for 5 or more years. The people who are making the most money. They could teach this content. Right? And that's really what Jefferson's done, is just immerse himself in it. So let me ask you a question. Is there a direct correlation between you immersing yourself into something and going deep in it, doing the deep work, and a correlation to your confidence and your income and everything? Would you say that's true? Yeah. Yeah. So that's, you know, one of the activators of prey drive is exposure. I see something. Environment is an activator of prey drive. I'm around something. Right? I'm in close proximity to something. Okay? And because of that, I get to see. I remember one day, to that point that Jefferson's making, I was working for a billionaire. And he was just an old country boy from Tennessee that just was a hustler. And I called him one day and I said, man, can I just come to work with you one day? I'm like, you ain't got to talk to me. You ain't got to look at me. You ain't got to have any conversation with me. I just want to watch you work for a day. And he's like, sure. And I literally just went there and sat there in the corner and just took my notepad and I just watched him. How does he talk to people? What does he say? How does he negotiate? How does he sell? I just observed all day long. He would do something and he'd say, hey, Michael, let me tell you what I'm doing. Let me tell you what I'm doing here. Had 12 different companies. And each of those companies, right? And he was a billionaire. And I just observed. Now, that is priceless, to be able to spend time just observing, right? So I'm doing this thing at my lodge. Jefferson's gone through Jeff Hoffman stuff, right? And I'm like, what's a creative way for me to go through that? So he founded Priceline. And I liked him. Thought he's got great on scale. So I just said, I'm going to have him at the lodge. So I just called Brandon. I said, man, you know, how much it costs for me to have him at the lodge? And he said, it costs this much. I said, okay. I said, I only ask one thing in negotiating with you. You give me 2 days at his boot camp. That's part of the deal. And then I said, better yet, how do we partner and I sell his boot camp? And we get a percentage of the money. He said, done deal. That's that easy. Everybody see that? So now we have a product. If you come to us and you say, I want to scale something, we say, man, we're going to put you in this explosive growth boot camp, right? And we're an affiliate. We get a percentage of that deal because we don't have a product on that. But I want to get in proximity to him. And the best way to get in proximity is just bring him to my own house. Everybody see that? Yeah. Right? Now, then I turn around and sold members to come to the house. So they really paid for it. That's how I think. How do I partner with a person and learn from them? How do we make money together? How do everybody I do boot camps with, I only pick people I want to do boot camps with that I personally want to learn from. Right? And then I go out and sell tickets to it, and other people pay for it. Isn't that a good, smart way to do it? Absolutely. So that's a way to do it. Now let's talk. I want to finish today with talking about talent. I suspect that 9 out of 10 people do not know what their true talent is. A talent in the Bible was worth $360,000 per talent. So if you had 2 talents, $720,000, 3 talents, over $1 million. So I ask myself, why ain't people making $360,000 with their talent? Why do you guys think it is? They don't know what it is. I ask people all over the world, what is your true talent? And what problem does it solve for me? And people give me very vague answers. Like what? What kind of answers do people get? What do you think people say to me?
I like cooking.
Good at cooking? Good people person? Hard worker? Got a lot of toughness and grit? See, I want you to think you have a very unique talent. That talent is used to solve a problem for another person. When you use your talent to solve a problem for another person, they pay you for that. Everybody see that? Monetization occurs at the point where you use your talent to solve my problem. So you may have a talent of connecting to people. You may have a talent of communicating something. You may have a talent of taking something complex and making it simple. See, all of this knowledge that Jefferson's getting is only as valuable as his ability to use it. Because I know people that go to seminars and workshops and boot camps. I've got some people come to 30 of my boot camps, never done one thing with it. And we call them in our industry seminar junkies. They get a thrill by going, being there, right? But they never. I go to a workshop or boot camp, I get one idea, and I'm doing it the next day. I may be doing it that night. I just get one. I'm like, I'm getting that one thing. Right? And it could be something about the way they did it. So my talent, I'm just going to give an example. I can't cook. I'm geographically illiterate. I can't fix a car. I was raised by a single mom. She never taught me how to fix anything. So I don't have a lot of talents in those areas. My talent, I'm 45 years old. I figured out what my talent is. Is it the deconstruction of a concept? It is the packaging of a concept. It is the codification of a concept. And then it is in the delivery of a concept to another person that activates something deep inside of them. I have packaged all of that up into 2 words, pre-drive. And I am the leading authority in the world at activating the pre-drive in people. That's what I tell myself. Everybody see that? 30 years of doing this, that's how clear I am in my talent. There's so many things I can't do. I can't teach you how to scale a company because that ain't my specialty. You follow me? I can't teach you how to, right? I'm not the door-to-door expert. I am the expert at activating pre-drive in people. Everybody see that? Now, I can activate your pre-drive and you will go knock on more doors and you will go make more money and you will expand your life. But I'm not going to be something I'm not. I know what I know. Now, all of that comes from my past. Studying Covey, the depth that Covey had. He was so deep and methodical. He had a real philosophy. Right? Coaching basketball for a decade, taking kids from all walks of life, all socioeconomic backgrounds, all ethnicities, and building them into a team and winning championships. That was me working my skill. That was my preparation cycle. Okay? So if I ask you, so now the question is, if you were coaching me and I said, this is it, man. how could I take that talent to the world and make money with it? How many people need their prey drive activated in the world?
Majority.
So how many companies want their people's prey drive activated? See, I started an insurance agency 6 months ago. It's the craziest thing in the world. I've already got 4,000 agents. Do you know how much money 4,000 agents is worth to a major insurance company? Like, of all the things I've ever done in my life, this one literally could be the one that makes me ridiculously wealthy. Like, we literally could sell this company in a couple years for like $50 to $100 million. And it happened just like this, but it didn't happen just like this. You know why we were able to get 4,000 agents already? Because all those agents had seen me speak at conferences year after year. They trusted me. They knew I was real and authentic. And they said, we want to work with you. Didn't happen in 6 months. It happened in 20 years. Right. Everybody see that? You know what they say to me? If we could just activate a percentage of these agents' prey drive, and they just did one more deal a month, it's worth millions and millions and millions of dollars if we could just activate their prey drive, coach. So if you're in our agency, you get coaching from me. It's part of the deal. It's one of our biggest value propositions. Everybody see that? All I'm doing is still activating prey drive. This Saturday in Scottsdale, I'm doing a success school. Jefferson's going to speak at it because we're going to have all my tycoons speak to the kids. Because you ain't never spoke to Oz until you've spoken to kids. They make you work. It's a good test for them, right? Do you know what I'm going to be doing with kids this Saturday? Activating their prey drive. Do you know what I'm really doing at those couples retreats with me and my wife? Typically activating one of the partners' prey drive. Had a woman call me yesterday, said, man, I don't think my husband has prey drive. Can you activate it? I said, you get him to my couples retreat, and let's see what happens. Everybody see that? All I'm giving you are examples of me using my talent in multiple industries. Insurance, this door-to-door industry, mortgage, real estate. All I'm doing is using the same talent over and over and over and over and over. But I can't do that if I don't know my talent. So if you don't know your talent, guess what you're doing? You're just selling windows. But if you know your talent, see, I went back and watched Dorenbos. Y'all need to go back tonight and search and watch John Dorenbos on America's Got Talent. His talent wasn't magic. He did magic on the show. You know what his talent was? He connected to those judges and the audience like you can't imagine. And when he tells that story of what he went through, watching his father kill his mother, there ain't a person on planet Earth that he don't connect to. See, his real talent is connection, boldness, right? He just happens to do magic. Everybody see that? He just shares his talent through magic and speaking. So what I find is that there's no classes on talent. There's really no school in America teaching you how to find it. Guys, I went to college for 9 years to get 3 degrees. I didn't have one class in how to find my talent, how to package it, how to market it, how to sell it. You'd think that would be worth, right? I paid a lot of money for those degrees. Maybe while I was going, I was figuring it out. So when you walk up to that door, you think you're selling windows. I think you're selling your talent. The better you are at knowing that talent, the more windows you're going to sell. Because what you're really selling is a real unique ability that's very specialized. Right? And there's nobody in the world who can do it like you do it. And the stronger the talent, the more money you're going to make. Everybody see that? I live in Nashville, so I always ask people, you know, Garth Brooks, I always ask people, what's Garth Brooks' talent? And everybody goes, oh, he's a singer. Then some people say he's a performer. And I say that's not his real talent. So, there's a lot of people sing better than Garth Brooks.
That's true.
His talent is connection. And when you watch the documentary about Brooks, his wife makes a statement. See, the people who really know your talents are the people closest to you because they observe you, they watch you. They can see something you don't see. See, his wife makes this statement during the documentary. There is nobody in the world better at connection than my husband. She said, when you are with him, it is always about you. I've gone to concerts my whole life because I live in Nashville. Some artists get up there, it's all about me. Look at me, look how good I am. Garth Brooks comes out there and says, man, I'm here for you. All night long, I'm going to give you everything I've got. And I'm going to have so much fun, and I'm so grateful that you're here. I couldn't do what I love doing without you. And those fans love him because it ain't about him. It's about, I'm going to give you, right? He did a show in Nashville many years ago to give money to the city because it's flooded. He started off with one show. He showed that show out. He did 7 straight nights, 2 shows a night for 7 straight nights. He raised a ridiculous amount of money, gave it all to Nashville. Do you know what it's like to give that much energy, 2 shows a night, 7 straight nights? It's ridiculous. I was like, this is crazy. You know what he's doing? Using his talent. So when you're using your talent, guess what happens? Feeds you. It don't drain you. You're excited about it. It's like, man, this is awesome. Can't even believe I get to do this. I can't even believe they literally paid me to do this. So you have to start seeing yourself as the artist, as the athlete, as the entertainer. You show up and you perform. And when you perform, you are the best. And how do you be so good that the door-to-door people are saying, hey man, how can I get you on stage for an hour teaching how good you are at connection? How do I get you on stage teaching how good you are at disarming people? How do I get you on stage to talk about, because you're like the best in the world? Everybody see that? People would actually pay to ride with you for a day and watch you work because you're just that good. That's all you're doing when you go watch a show. You're actually paying to watch them work. We used to have a program where people paid $5,000 to come work with me for a day. And we called it Work with a Pro. These people fly in all over the country and they just walk, everywhere I go, they would go with me, they listen to my phone calls. And at the end of the day, you know what they'd say? Every one of them, I don't work like you do. They're like, I didn't know you worked this hard. Yes?
Why did you stop that program?
It's taxing on me to have somebody right there with me all the time, watching everything, and me having to explain to them and tell them, and you know, it's just, yeah, it's not, I actually enjoyed it. It's just, I'd rather do it if we did it 5,000, 10 people at a time. Now, I'd be open to that. But imagine becoming so good here at this company that people are paying $10,000 to come in here and spend 2 or 3 days on a field trip watching you guys work. Wow. And they watched your meetings, and they listened to your phone calls, and they went out there with you, and right? And you were so good that they wanted to learn how the best do it. Everybody see that? Hey, when you're the best, man, people will pay. People will pay. So I'll close with this. Each one of you have a talent. All I really did for my wife is help her find her talent. You know what I said? What do you love doing? She said, man, I love taking care of people. I love tending to people. She cooks with no recipes. Just by tasting. Puts something in. Now that's a talent. You know what I said to her? You have the gift of hospitality. I'm going to help you start your own catering business. I'm going to help you take your talent, make money with it. So now we do retreats, boot camps where people come to our house, the lodge. I do the coaching, and my wife does the cooking. Isn't that cool?
That's beyond cool.
She does what she loves doing. She'll go out there 2 or 3 days before, cook for 2 or 3 days at that lodge, make sure it's all perfect, set it up perfect. And then after she's done, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. And I look at her and I say, yeah, but you loved every second of it. And she's like, I sure did. See, once you find this talent, guys, and you take your talent to the world. See, all I've been doing with you guys for 3 hours is taking my talent to you. That's it. Don't even seem like work. Once you really figure this out, that's when you start making the big money. The stronger the skill, the more the market rewards the skill in the form of love and recognition, referrals, affirmation. The market basically says, you're good. I feel compelled. I'll close with this. I go down to watch these little country music artists in Nashville. You ever come to Nashville? Number one, you should come to Nashville. And you should come to something I do at the lodge. Stay in Nashville. And I go down on Broadway sometimes, and I just sit there and watch these little aspiring artists. They're literally making 40 bucks a night, 50 bucks a night. Some of them just mail it in, go through the motions. But every now and then I'll watch one, and they got energy, and fire, and talent. And I'll just sit there and take notes, and I'll be like, dang, they're good. And you know what I always do? They walk around, and they bring a tip jug. That's the way they get paid. And I reach in my pocket, and I'm like, man, I got to give you some money. What I sit here and watched you do for the last 3 hours is amazing. I feel compelled to help you because of your talent. Right? And they're like, thank you so much. And I put, 20 in there, 50 in there, 100 in there. It's my way of just saying, man, you're good. Here you go. That's what the world says to you. You're good. Here you go. If you put forth a little talent, you get a little check. And the world says, is that all you got? Surely you got more than that. Right? Talent is associated with prey drive. Because when I'm operating in this area, my prey drive is up. When I'm not operating in this area, my prey drive is low. So you guys are at a good age to find this. What you're building here is very special. I've watched Jefferson mature into a real person of interest. Makes me proud to be his coach. See him doing these things, I tell you, man, I almost get emotional just thinking about it, because I've coached a lot of people. Very few of them have gone and done what he's done over the last couple of years. So me and my wife talk about it. We're proud of you. And the fact that you let me be your coach means the world to me. So thank you for that. And to open up your team to me, man, I couldn't do what I do without you guys. So I want to thank you for having me today. God bless you, man. It's been great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.